Tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. My family's from New Orleans, though, so I was raised in New Orleans. I just happened to be born in Atlanta. My dad took my mom to Atlanta to try to do something different and have a better life when she was pregnant with me. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. So much younger that I was almost raised by myself. And I came here after Katrina. My dad's an outside machinist, and his company had a contract about 2 months before Katrina hit in Bremerton, Washington. And so I came up here after Katrina and been here off and on, back and forth since then.
Tell me about your home life. What was it like growing up in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, my home life was mainly turbulent when I was a child. Broken home. My mom and my dad didn't get along, and my dad didn't necessarily make a good impression on my sisters and my brother, which were his stepchildren. Things would be okay for, a small percentage of the time, and then it would always be a lot worse after that, after everything was okay for a little while. My mom and my dad did drugs. My dad suffered with it pretty much his whole life up until a few years ago. My mom made a decision. She didn't want to do drugs, but she also made a decision that involved a new life that didn't involve me.
I'm curious, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Well, when she made the decision not to do drugs, she had to get away from my dad, and she didn't take me with her.
And that's when they separated?
Well, that's when they separated for good the last time. They haven't been together since then.
I see. How old were you when this was happening?
I was 12.
Oh yeah, so you remember real good.
Yeah.
So you stayed with your dad?
Yeah, my dad and the rest of the family whenever, I stayed with my dad whenever we had a house.
So this time you were doing school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped going to school because there was nobody to really supervise me. I was in between my aunts and my cousins, and so nobody really could deal with the responsibility. So I stopped going to school.
And that's what earlier you were saying, you kind of raised yourself.
Yeah.
So what were you doing? You're not going to school. What's happening in your life?
Not going to school, trying to fit in. I remember not going to school the first time I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to go to school. Was because I felt that I would do better. I could eat more. And I would be around more resources of like my basic needs if I didn't go to school. I had more time to try to gather those things. Inside of my mind, I felt that I would be able to survive better without school.
Yeah, man. That makes me think of my daughter. She's 10. And you were around 12, you said?
Yeah.
And you are thinking about your basic needs being met and how do I do that? Instead of going out to play, hanging out with your friends, you're thinking about survival. And that sounds hard. And you know, you're going through puberty, my guess is too, around that age. So after in your teens, what's going on?
In my teens, pretty much the same thing. Homeless. You know, I'm staying here and there, everywhere, pillow to post. Sometimes I would be with family members, but it was a thing where, like, if I was around, then, you know, my cousins couldn't get all the things they wanted because I was an extra mouth to feed. So when I was a teenager, I struggled to be able to say that I did it by myself, or, you know, I took care of myself. That's what I remember. That's what I was focused on. Taking care of myself, not needing any help, or not seeming to need any help.
And at this time too, your dad's in and out of your life, kind of, or what's going on with him?
He's there for a month or two sometimes, and then he's not there for a month or two. Sometimes he's there for 3 months, and he's not there for 6.
Right.
Depends on his using habits at the time. He was a troubled soul. He was articulate, man. He liked different things from what the stereotype was around the neighborhood, different types of music, different educational programs, and, you know, books. He collected National Geographic, but he liked to get high. So he would work. You know, he would work his job and try the best to pay his bills and get high at the same time. And he just kind of lost that battle sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, that addiction cycle. And, you know, I hear that, and I think your dad's coping, because people do lots of things to cope, right? With pain and suffering and whatever they need to cope with. What about you in your 20s? What's going on in your 20s?
In my 20s, I was here. I came here when I was 20.
Okay, and so you went with your dad here?
No.
Okay.
I was in jail for Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
For a charge that essentially they had no evidence for. I was to get released September 1st. And that turned into March. I got out of jail, and the portion of my family that was like my immediate family, they were here with my dad.
Okay.
And so, you know, I made the decision that it would be best for me to come here. And I came here, and I was staying with my father at his house in Bremerton that he was renting at the time. And him and his wife had a falling out. And so when they had a falling out, she told me I had to go also. So I ended up staying with this girl that I had just met a couple weeks before that, which ended up becoming the mother of my son up here. I ended up staying with her just purely because I didn't have anywhere else to go. Because it was kind of like as soon as I came here, all my family left. So I was the last one left.
And so you're with the mother of your child, a boy or girl?
Boy.
And yeah, what are you doing? Are you what's the thought process? Should I go back? Should I stay here? Should I don't know.
This was before she was the mother of my child. I was thinking that I didn't want my family to leave me here.
I guess another question is, why did they go back?
Because they didn't like it here.
Gotcha.
You know, they have Louisiana soil like deep in their blood. They wanted to be home. They missed home.
Right.
They didn't like it here. They didn't like the way that people did things, the way that people communicated with each other. They just didn't like it here, I guess.
But yet, when they left, was it like the feeling of, I don't know, abandonment? Like, I just got here, everyone's leaving. Like, what's the emotion in there?
Yeah, it was a feeling of abandonment because nobody actually put me in their plans to come back with them. And you know, it was considered that I was grown. I was, you know, I didn't need to be thought of like that. And I just remember being not scared, but a little nervous about what might happen. But that was my first real relationship, so I didn't know. I had no idea what was really in store for me. But I remember my cousin saying to my girlfriend at the time, "Hey, make sure you take care of my little cousin and don't start acting all funny with him." I didn't know how serious, he was, and how much I should concentrate on that statement.
Yeah, I mean, I think back when I was 20, and that's young. I don't know how old you are now.
37 now.
And yeah, 20 is young, man. And you're in a relationship. How old are you when you had your son?
I was 22 when I had him.
Yeah, young, man, young.
By that time, I was already in trouble here for domestic violence, more particularly for violating no contact orders. So when he was born, I was actually locked up, and I had made plans for her and my son to go to New Orleans, to live in New Orleans with my last cousin that stayed here. And she was going home. So she was the last one, the very last one. So I made the decision from in jail that I didn't want to be up here with absolutely anyone, even though she's my age.
Yep. She
still was some type of family support here. So she offered for the mother of my son to go with her, with my son and my 2 stepkids. And I was to get out of jail in maybe 3 or 4 more months, and I would join them in New Orleans.
Did it happen? Did you do it?
No, she went down and got another boyfriend.
While you were in jail?
Yeah.
Ouch, man. And how old was your son at this time?
Still a baby.
Just a little baby.
Just a little baby.
Well, I mean, speaking of your son, let's see, how old is he now?
16 now.
16. Where's he?
He's on Mercer Island now.
Okay, so he's still in Seattle.
Yeah.
You have a relationship with him?
No, it's very complicated. It's a complicated story.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough time here for it.
That's right. When was the last time you talked to him then?
It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Is there anything you want to say around that, or do you want to move on?
I want to move on.
Sounds good. Well, let's see. To date, let's talk about your current situation. Kevin, where are you at now?
I'm on the streets of Seattle.
And how long has that been like that?
It's been like that for about 5 years now. I had a 1.5 year break when I had a tiny home in South Seattle.
And when you got out of, I talked to other folks, and when they get out of jail or prison, they do not get set up very well. Was it a similar situation when you were released? Did you have a place to go? Did they set you up, etc.?
I've been in and out a couple of times. Are you talking about the time that I was locked up and she went to New Orleans?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I filed my interstate compact that time and went home.
Okay.
So it was okay that time.
Yeah.
I went back to New Orleans and well, it was all right. I kind of, the situation with her, I was really shameful. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess 5 years ago, when you first became unhoused, how does that happen?
I had gotten out of prison.
Gotcha.
And I was in a really bad situation. I had met this girl, Emily, who I'm currently with off and on nowadays. She's had 2 sons for me also. And she was just coming from rehab, and I was just coming from prison.
Mm-hmm.
And we both just didn't have any support. And the spot that we were at, we didn't want to be there. We didn't want to fall into the same things. And it was almost like people around us were mad because we didn't want to do the same things. So we made a decision to leave and, try something new. So we came to Seattle.
Gotcha. And when you guys came to Seattle, did you drive, fly, take the bus?
Took the bus, caught the ferry.
Gotcha. Kevin, is there anything that you would want to say to the people of Seattle?
There's a lot that I want to say, but I don't want to sell myself.
What does that mean?
I don't want to seem, insincere or not genuine. But the only thing that would show anybody who you are is just your actions over time. So I just want to be given an opportunity, like everyone deserves opportunity.
Yeah, man, totally.
I want to be judged as an individual. I don't want to be judged I don't want to be judged at all. I want to be evaluated as an individual. I want to be given chances and opportunities as an individual, not as I belong to a certain group of people or a certain class of people.
Totally, man. Anything else on your mind?
No.
All right, man. Good to hear your voice. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Grab that little mic. Ooh. Take a couple photos.